Psalm 91. He who dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him I will trust. Surely He shall deliver you from the snare of the fowler and from the perilous pestilence. He shall cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you shall take refuge. His truth shall be your shield and buckler. You shall not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor of the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor of the destruction that lays waste at noonday. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. Only with your eyes shall you look and see the reward of the wicked. Because you have made the Lord, who is my refuge, even the Most High, your dwelling place. No evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near you, your dwelling. For He shall give His angels charge over you, to keep you in all your ways. In their hands they shall bear you up, lest you dash your foot against a stone. You shall tread upon the lion and the cobra, the young lion and the serpent you shall trample underfoot. Because He has set His love upon me, therefore I will deliver him. I will set him on high, because he has known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life I will satisfy him and show him my salvation.
And we want to welcome all of His Glory Nation, from east to west to north to south. Welcome to today's Take 5. Happy Monday, January the 9th. It's hard to believe it's the 9th of January already. Giddy up. And here we are with Bo and Andrew. We're talking finances, silver and gold now. Welcome, both of you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
It's amazing.
God bless you.
Amazing times.
Andrew, nice to see both of you again. Thanks for having us, and it's going to be a nice chat, and what a pleasure to be here.
And I didn't have a chance to tell you this, Bo, in the green room. I had a conversation over the weekend, again, with a high-level intel source, another one has confirmed that there was a financial crash that happened on September the 24th that they hid. So
wow.
It's happening. They're artificially inflating the market, and that's what we want to talk about. We're going to talk about your patterns of silver and gold and where we're at. So I'll tee it up to you both.
Well, actually, the best place to start is as the stock market itself. It's a moot point. I want to explain this. The stock, who cares what happens with the stock market? Because it could crash 1,000 times. This year, next year, I don't care. It could crash 1,000 times. As long as the world reserve currency, the US dollar, remains the world reserve currency and it maintains its value, okay? All they do, look what happened in March of 2020. The US stock market collapsed in a single 2, 3, 4 days, 38%. They printed $7 trillion that weekend. Boom, everything's fixed, okay? So the stock market is not the deal. All eyes are on my eyes, and I hope the listeners, and I'm sure David's eyes and Andrew's eyes, are on the US dollar. You take down the dollar, and the BRICS will. It's prophetic, okay? It is prophesied. The BRICS will take down the dollar, and game over, okay? That will be the collapse of Babylon. I was just on this past weekend with, you mentioned David Rodriguez.
Yep.
Amazing, man. We did a full hour presentation on how this is all playing out. But the bottom line is the money system built Babylon. Everything has been bought for, paid off, paid for, captured, with the money, the dollar, the fiat-based money system, which, and will confirm, it's a click of a button and they can create it out of thin air. So the world is captured. Stock market's irrelevant. BRICS attack that dollar. Babylon falls. We're about to watch it go down. If I had to pick a moment in time, I would say keep very close eyes on the end of January. Threefold reason. Now, it doesn't have to happen the end of January, but I'll tell you threefold reason why I believe it triggers where something goes down the end of January. Number one is you just started with what you're talking about, what happened with the presidency, right? The actual inauguration date, David, is January 20th.
Yep.
Okay, so that's literally this week, next week, and then and then that's it. So the 20th is actually not this Friday, but next Friday. Today being the 9th of January. So all I'm telling you from that point on, and you'll see if those have watched our prior presentation about the jackal. This fake guy in there, Robin Bullock called him the jackal.
Yep.
Okay, this jackal has only 2 years, and that expires next Friday. So all I'm saying is watch the end of the month as a huge starting point. Then there's 2 days later is the 22nd of January. The 22nd of January, Pastor Dave. Why did God, or why would God turn his back on a covenant nation, the United States? Because of one thing we did in 1971 through 73. What was it?
Roe.
Abortion.
Yep, Roe.
Roe v. Roe. Okay. So January 22nd. So not this Monday, but next Monday, or next Sunday, actually, the 20th. That would lead us to the January Monday, the 23rd, would actually be the 50-year jubilee of when it became law is January 22nd of 2023, 2 weeks from now. So we've overturned Roe v. Wade. We're in the 50-year jubilee. It's God's secret when the Jubilee starts, because that's the triggering point. We've talked about, the day and the hour is a secret, just like the return of Christ, okay? But we know we're in the year of Jubilee. We don't know the triggering moment and the triggering event. All I'm saying is that we're at 50 years. It officially begins with, as of the 23rd of January, we would officially be in that 50th year of turning our backs. God is now with us, because Roe v. Wade became law on January 22nd of 1973. So that's the second reason, or second powerful date. The third date would be January 24th. And those of you who studied my work, timelines, it's a 1-2-4 pattern. So January 1 to 24th. And then the final point would be into the 31st. So something is supposed to start into month end. And that's all I can say. We are in a historic year. Those who have listened to Andrew, myself, Pastor Dave, I hope you have positioned yourself financially. What does that mean? I don't want to give financial advice. I'm saying I hope you've read Haggai 2, verse 8. The silver and the gold are mine, saith the Lord. If you've read that scripture, then I hope you have positioned yourself by your holding some of God's money. And when God moves his hand, there will be no time to react. It will literally be a moment in time. The event goes down within 24 to 48 hours. Everything we know changes. The financial system literally breaks. And it's going to start in Europe, where the prophecy is, and then as the sun rises, that's how it's going to go down. And it's going to be historic what happens. And then that's the day that Andrew will be taking some time off, because Andrew will not know what to sell gold for. Andrew will not know what he's going to be buying gold for. No one's going to know anything. All we know is that the financial system just broke, and we got to witness the glory. And that's only the start of things to come, because Jesus Christ, and Pastor Dave, go from here. when Jesus Christ started his ministry, he walked into the temple. This is so cool because we've talked about this, but actually those who watched The Chosen just 2 weeks ago, it was the third episode of episode series 3. They actually had Jesus read Isaiah 61. And then the rabbi asked Jesus, why did you not read the day of vengeance of our God? And Jesus' answer was, because it wasn't time yet. It's in the future. This just happened 2 weeks ago. There's no coincidence on this. And so we're about to witness the glory. And so when Jesus read that Jesus was the glory. And then how long did Jesus's ministry go on across Israel? 3 years. And then he died on the cross, conquered evil, was resurrected. Okay, so my point is we're about to see the glory, which is the year of Jubilee. Pastor Dave, explain the Jubilee so people really understand it.
Yeah, because people are like, you get these prophets on, they're talking about this date, that date. First of all, nobody's setting any dates. When you talk about dates, you're seeing patterns. This is more of a financial pattern. But we do know God's pattern is here, and we do know what a Jubilee is. Well, maybe most people don't, and I'll explain it. It's a Shemitah, then a Jubilee. The 7th year on God's calendar is called a Shemitah. That's where the land is back, the debts are freed. And then 7 times 7 is a 49, which is a Jubilee year, where the money goes back to the people of God. It's reinvestment. So when we're talking about this is God's movement to get the money from the evil of Babylon back to his bride so that we can have this great outpouring. And I know there's people out there that are watching this today and say, I don't have the money to do that. God is going to take care of you. He's redoing the wealth. He's not doing it to make somebody rich and have multiple houses and planes. He's doing it to go from east to west and north to south to have the greatest revival in the history of the world. But if you do have the means to get silver and gold, I would highly recommend getting silver and gold, because we know it will be at least stable, but we also see that it's going to increase. We're already seeing an increase. You texted me the other day, Bo, and said it just went to over $24.
Correct.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. We're starting to see both gold and silver move. Gold seems to be going in almost a straight up pattern, which what I always say is what's good for gold is great for silver. So silver is definitely where it's at. People need to position themselves.
I can add this. I've studied silver and gold for, 15 years, okay? So years. I'm just telling you, I'm extremely versed in the patterns. I know patterns like no tomorrow, okay? I'm just telling you that gold starts the breakaway, and then silver gets to the top first, okay, in terms of time. So gold starts the lead, it breaks, it leads, silver plays a catch-up, and then goes insane vertical, and will achieve its top first, beating gold. And then gold becomes the grandpa, and it'll take longer to get to the top. So we're about to embark on a multi-year vertical breakout or vertical move on precious metals. And it actually started in 2023. So if your staff, Pastor Dave, can put on that gold chart that if we can view that, if they're able to put it up.
Yeah, if you guys put that up.
Put it up.
Before we talk about that chart, I want to go back to silver for a second. In the Bible, biblically, silver is is always an idiom or a symbol of blood redemption. How ironic that is with that date coming up with Roe v. Wade and the child.
Wow.
And that's a peace silver dollar that Pastor Dave just held up. It's people always ask, how can I get those, and exactly what coin is it? And people could reach out to us, and we can help people acquire those.
If you guys can see this chart right here, I just be able to put it up here. What we're seeing right here is silver. There's a pattern. I did this because it's really fascinating what are the chances that it's playing out this way, but it is. So look what happened. So this is last week. If you look at the chart, there's a pattern called an ascending triangle pattern. You don't need to know anything about charts. All you need to understand is just patterns, okay? So here's a pattern, ascending triangle pattern. And what happens is silver, gold, it could be anything, can go through this pattern. And when it breaks out of this top breakout, the black line, it embarks on a new vertical move. It embarks on a new journey. Okay, so look this is gold. This is what happened. So this was the first trading day. This is the little black one here. This was Tuesday last week. Wednesday, gold broke through that channel. And then on Thursday, it came back and retested it. And then on Friday, it broke vertical. So that's an official breakout for gold. And then today it's trading even higher. So my point is, it's only going to do one thing, begin to accelerate vertical. That's what's about to happen. Once it achieves the breakout, it's going to take a little time, and then it's going to start accelerating, and then you're going to have all heck break loose vertically. And now if you want to even talk even bigger picture, okay, those were daily candlesticks. And then Andrew, go from here, please. But this is kind of fun to look at. When you look at the actual, this is a 40-year chart on silver. You don't need to understand charting again. It's just look at the pattern. That's all we're looking at here. So the top pattern here, this is 40 years of silver. Not 1 year, not 1 month, 40 years of silver from 1980. It made a top here at 49. It made another top here in 2011. So that's called a cup pattern. So it completed a cup. And then since 2011, like 11, 12 years, it's been stuck. But guess what it's been forming? So it's forming a handle. It made 0.7 here in December, or November. And all it's doing now is working out. When it breaks this top line, it breaks a 40-year chart pattern. And gold, and then this will embark silver on a multi-generational, multi-year vertical breakout. This is a breakout of 40 years that we are about to witness.
Amazing. It's I remember the cup with handle chart formation, which was very big when I worked over at Investors Business Daily newspaper for the stock market. And that's just for people out there that aren't aware of that. Typically, when you do see the cup with handle pattern, that right when it gets past the handle, that's when the breakout happens. It's off to the races at that point.
And that is why, how many times have we been on, three of us?
Yep.
What's the magic number we've been talking about? Silver.
It's been 24 a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. The breakout's at 25, 26, 27, and I keep referencing 25, right? So when it blasts through 25, it's going to be very quick, probably 26, 27. And once it gets through there, that line's broken, and that thing's just going to rip. And it's not going to go to 32. No, it's going to go to $60 in a heartbeat, and that's only the beginning. And that's when Andrew heads off to the beach, because it's a breakout, vertical breakout. No one knows how this is going to play out when that handle breaks. We just know it's just going to keep going higher, and Andrew's not going to know what to buy it for. Andrew will not know what to sell it for. And most importantly, people will not be able to get it because of what's going on in the world, because Haggai 2 verse 8 states the silver and the gold are mine, saith the Lord. And then Matthew states, well, forget even Matthew. First, let's talk about damages. Yeah. That's sevenfold. So 20, 25, whatever, times 7 is immediately 150-ish range on silver. Immediately. So days, weeks, whatever. But that's going to be the first target, damages. And then shortly after that, we're going to go blessings, which is 30, 60, 100-fold, which is $600 to $700 silver. And that's only 30-fold.
Beverly Hills Precious Metals Exchange is a client-focused firm devoted to assisting our clients with precious metals. Our clients range from first-time to serious coin collectors and investors seeking to add precious metals to their investment portfolios. We are not interested in volatile investments, leveraged products, and intangible assets. With rising inflation and the devaluing of the dollar hurting middle-class families, investing in gold and silver ensures protection for your hard-earned money. Save the value of your money today by investing in gold and silver at Beverly Hills Precious Metals.
So all I'm saying is that we're about to embark on a historic vertical move for silver and gold. And why does it happen? because the BRICS nations are about to attack the dollar. They're going to fulfill God's will. For the brothers of Goliath will come together as one to do God's will, and they will cripple the United States, the financial system, including the world financial system in terms of the paper fiat money system.
Yeah.
Andrew, what would happen? Go ahead, David.
Yeah, I was going to say, Andrew, you picked that up because when we talk about you going to the beach, I think some people look at part of it that you're going to the beach because you're wealthy, and it's you don't know what to do, because how do you get it? What happens when it gets to 10% of the people that wake up about silver? It's too late. It's hard to buy it, hard to grab it.
It's true. To break that down for the people that don't know about this part of the conversation, the gold and silver market is much smaller than you might think it would be. Like it would just take one major event, like what Bo has referred to a few times on this interview, March of 2020, which is when the shutdown started for COVID here in California. And that week was just terrible in all of the markets. The stocks tanked. Bitcoin went from like almost 20,000 down to 3,000 for one Bitcoin. Just all the markets just tanked. If we see another event of that proportion, I would have to just close up shop for the day and head to the beach, because we would see a great need for gold and silver. Our phones will ring off the hook, and really, I don't want to sell it for too cheap when the market's jumping like that. The premiums are going to jump to all-time records. So many of the people that are listening now will wait until that event to pick up the phone and make the call to us and say, hey, I'm ready to get into gold and silver. And we're just urging people to not wait for that, because it's just going to be pandemonium. Do it now.
Yeah, because if you wait for the pandemonium to happen, as we've mentioned many times, how long have you been doing this? How many years?
Since I was 15 years old. It's been a long time, almost 40.
Almost 40 years. So 40 years reputation is everything in silver and gold. And when this event happens, you're going to get all these crazies out of the woodwork that are going to come in and with all kinds of schemes.
Well, do you remember last year, and this is, people should know this one. Remember that GameStop event that went down where they all tried to short GameStop or something, whatever happened. And shortly after that same group went in and did that stuff on silver, right? And just as a perfect example, okay, silver popped over, like I think it was in the $25 range or something. What did they do? That literally happened on a Friday. And you couldn't buy, they shut down every single dealer, including, I'm sure, Andrew, shut down all silver sales, maybe even gold too, but all sales were shut down until Monday, because they didn't know what they would be able to sell silver for on Monday because of the one-day sharp spike that went vertical, and they had no idea what would happen Monday. So no one was selling, I think, late Friday all the way through Sunday. You couldn't buy anything.
Yeah, that happened here. I have what our biggest client is someone that just bought millions of dollars worth of gold and silver from us, primarily silver. And he called up at exactly the time that you're talking about, and he said, I want to buy a few hundred ounces of gold. He goes, how much is it going to cost? And at the time, gold had just dropped from like $1,700 an ounce to $1,300 an ounce in just a few days, like less than a week's time. And when I quoted him what the prices were almost exactly the same as where they were when gold was $1,700 an ounce. It was like $1,650 an ounce. And he's scratching his head. He's like, look, I'm not the smartest guy in the world here, but I am a doctor. I'm highly educated. He goes, if silver is $1,300, why is it going to cost me almost $1,700 right now?
Gold.
And I just told him that the premium just shot up because no one out there can afford to sell it at the current level. And the only way to obtain it is if you allow somebody to get it to, if you allow somebody to sell it to where they could at least just break even. So the supply is just not there when there's a steep drop like that.
Well, think about the money supply system. So people don't understand. The money supply is a huge problem for precious metals, and it's a huge blessing at the same time for precious metals. It's a double-edged sword, okay? Because just like, the Congress just passed this bill for $1 trillion, okay? First off, there's no such thing as $1 trillion in precious metals. It doesn't exist, okay? If you added up all the precious metals in the world, you'd be in billions, okay? Correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew. But if you added up the value of all the precious metals in the world, you'd be in the billions, and that's it, okay? I don't know how many billion, but that's it. Point being is, all you need is one billionaire to say, get me all the supply that's available, and everything's gone. Gone. Okay. So when the dollar crashes, you need one billionaire to say, call up whoever you can, get me all the silver you can, and within 15 minutes, all the supply is gone. Okay. So those who sit on the fence waiting, hey, Pastor Dave, Andrew, or Bo, what they talking about? Is it even reasonable? Is it even possible? The point is, precious metals are nothing but an insurance policy. Ask yourself, do you have an insurance policy for your car? Fantastic. Do you have an insurance policy for your home? Fantastic. Do you have an insurance policy for your health? Fantastic. Do you have an insurance policy for your finances? Precious metals are an insurance policy against the banks, against the banking institutions, against government. Okay, so it basically protects your finances as a perfect. So when God multiplies like 30-fold, for example, all you need to have technically is a simple math equation. If 10% of your finances, whatever your net worth was, or your cash, or whatever, just example, it's a perfect example. If you had 10% even of that in precious metals, when God multiplies 30, 60, 100-fold, okay, that basically fixes all of your financial issues because you had an insurance policy.
Yeah.
Expand on that, Andrew.
Yeah, I would say that the biggest thing that I could add to what Bo just said, which is 100% true, is that with all of those other insurance policies, your health insurance, your car insurance, the insurance on your home, when that policy is done 12 months after you sign up, you have to pay it again. Every year you have to pay those premiums every single year. And with gold and silver, you don't. That's once you invest in it, it's yours, and there's no ongoing premium for it. And if you feel that you're overextended, you can always turn that gold and silver back into green, because we do need cash to some degree. You have to have cash to pay your bills, your everyday life. So you can always convert it back, and we have people that do that all the time.
Just not a large quantity of it, because you're not going to get it out of a bank. Trust me, I've tried. I don't have a large quantity, but you can't. The bank's not holding that money. If something happened and there's a run on a bank, you're not getting your cash out of there.
Yep. And actually, Pastor Dave, you remind me of something that we've not talked about here for the last few interviews, but it's starting to resurface again. We're having the banks now start to try to scare our clients out of sending wire transfers. We used to see this all the time, and then it just stopped for like maybe 2 or 3 months, and it started up again. So the way that it works is that when people reach out to us and they agree to make an investment into gold or silver, we send them an invoice, and then they head over to the bank and they initiate a wire transfer, and that's how they pay for it. And then once we receive those funds, then we ship the goods. Well, the banks oftentimes, and people should be ready for this, is that when you head over there, they'll say, how do you know these people? Are you sure they're legitimate? And they want to cast doubt into your head. And they'll look for something and try to find one little problem. And whatever little problem that they find that's a problem for them, but not a problem for you, they'll say, look, this is probably a scam. I can, in good faith, let you wire funds to these people. If you want to get a check and put it in the mail, that's fine, but I cannot be part of you sending a wire transfer to these people. And it happens all the time. And then the people get back home, and then they call us, and then we say, well, look, we talk about this all the time on the interviews. Maybe we haven't talked about it for a couple of months, but this happens, and the banks don't want you to invest into gold and silver. But at the same time, the banks are heavily leveraged in gold and silver as an insurance policy against a collapse of our economy, which we seem to be heading into. And just one more thing to add to all of this is in 2021, I've been coming on this show since 2021, and we talked about how gold and silver are an insurance policy for investments in that year. Last year, we talked about inflation all year. And now this year, I think the focus is going to be recession, the central bank digital currency, and really positioning yourself for what we know is coming.
Isn't J.P. Morgan the second or third largest holder of silver in the world?
Yeah, the last tally I saw was that they were number one and that they had 600,000 physical ounces of silver, and they do control the market. Bo will remember this. Back in 2011, after silver peaked at like $49 an ounce, and
that was the right side of the cup.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. And it just came crashing down. Silver crashed down after that. And we felt like silver was going to go to maybe $100 an ounce, and it probably would have. But JP Morgan at that time also had the largest physical holdings of silver, and they just started unloading it. And that made the market just head south so fast. And I believe that we could see a reverse effect with them buying even more in this type of market. So I'm really curious to see what plays out here.
Yeah.
Well, think about what you just said, right? You described that, how it went up 2011 to that $49 mark again. But this is how God works, right? So people say, what is a cycle? There's cycles and there's patterns. And so what you just described was how that cup formed. So there was the Hunt brothers in 1980.
Yep.
And then it was JP Morgan in 2011. That formed the cup. And then since then, we've had 11, 12 years, right, of the handle forming. How amazing is this that the manipulation is all a part of the pattern? And the next point is, all that's missing is that breakout from the handle. But that will never happen. They will never let silver break vertical, because if silver breaks vertical, the dollar falls. And that will mark the birth of God's kingdom, because when silver is going to multiply, then that's an honest money system. Because what's honest money? Gold and silver. Been honest money for thousands of years. So evil's agenda is to maintain a paper-based fraudulent money system, because they can control it and they can click buttons in the back room and make as much as they need to continue the bribes and the payoffs.
It's the Wizard of Oz.
Right. So they can control humanity and maintain Babylon. Because what is Babylon? In its simplest definition, it's a worldwide. It started with the United States. It's migrated across the world because Revelation says the world will become drunk with her, and that's with the money. And now it's nothing more than the word control. It's a worldwide control mechanism of what? Well, what did Pharaoh do to Israel? Yeah. Controlled Israel. It was bondage, okay? And so the entire world is now enslaved with a paper-based bondage money system. Everything's captured, and that takes it right down to the bonds, the 30-year mortgages, the car loans, student loans. Everything's captured, and the money has to be maintained as valuable. But if silver and gold had true value, like if gold was the price of Bitcoin today, even at 20,000 or 30,000, whatever, 20-something thousand, right? Then the paper would have no value. See, the point is, they can't let gold and silver ever achieve its true value in a Babylonian money system, because then their money has no value, right? That's why they've been manipulating silver for generations, because as Pastor Dave said, it's used, they used it to buy Jesus, right? They didn't buy, they used 30 ounces of silver that they give to Judah, right? Trust me, silver wasn't worth $25 an ounce when they gave it to Judah, okay? It was extremely valuable. And that's, so he took it for the money. The point is, silver, they manipulated so much because they know that's why there's a silver bullet, it kills vampires, you could just go on and on with stories about silver, but they're real stories because they really know that silver has this innate ability to destroy things. And that's why when silver does do this move and Andrew heads off because he doesn't to the beach, it's a fun statement because he doesn't know what to do. Like, what do you do next? No one knows. The financial system we know is breaking, basically. It's breaking. And God's money is now becoming coming back to, because when all financial systems break, everything always reverts back to God's money.
Yep.
Always. And we're about to witness that again. And then because the only reason it's going to happen is because of biblical. It's a jubilee. It's a jubilee year that we're in. We're just trying to find out what day does it start.
Yeah, I'll add to that. Andrew, you can chime in, because I think you told me this too, but the guy that I was talking to over the weekend who said significant crash in the market on September 24th, he said that he's told that the number one thing he's hearing why people buy silver is for bartering. It's not value now. It's bartering because in case something like Brazil happens to the United States.
Exactly. It's been portfolio insurance for so long. And then I would say it's everybody's backup plan for bartering. They say if the dollar were to go belly up, we would need something to where we would be able to purchase things with. And it can't really be gold, because if you have a 1 ounce gold eagle and gold's at $1,975 an ounce and you need to buy $50 worth of groceries, there's not a way for you to have change. So you could use the peace dollar like Pastor Dave just held up, and pre-1965 dimes, quarters, half dollars. Those are different denominations. We actually provide many people from the HisGlory family with the 90% silver, the pre-1965 silver. That to me is the number one thing that I would want to have to be able to barter with. And also, as Bo always says, like the 1 ounce silver rounds and the bars, those are good too. It's just if you have large amounts of it, that tends to be the reportable type of asset. And I wouldn't want for people to have too much of that, but to have some of it is okay.
Yeah, I think we should explain that again, unless you completely trust our government. Our government has never steered us wrong, especially in this last 2.5 years. There's no conflict whatsoever. 87,000 new IRS agents are hired. And now it's part of that last bill that any transaction of an everyday American of $600 or more has to be reported.
Yeah.
That's why until they change the law, this is a great way that it's not reportable.
It is, and all of that started with the Dodd-Frank Act when Obama took office. Obama came in, and this was like right at the heels of the financial crisis, and it seemed like his platform when he first took office was that he was going to save the world and make it so that Americans could never be taken advantage of again, like they were with the subprime mortgage loans. And he was able to easily pass the Dodd-Frank Act, which that was the first time I'd ever seen the $600 1099 deal that you were just talking about, Pastor Dave.
Yep.
And that was in it initially and then got written out of it. They killed it, but we know that's how these unpopular things begin. So it gets shot down then, and then now it's back in. But with the central bank digital currency, when we move to that, it's not going to be $600. Everything's going to be tracked. You go use your phone to pay for a parking meter.
Yep.
It's going to be tracked. But back to the Dodd-Frank Act. The Dodd-Frank Act has certain things in it written about bullion, where they want to prevent illegal businesses like drug cartels from moving large amounts of money, washing their dirty dollars and then cleaning them with gold and silver and then selling those for clean dollars. So because of that, the gold and silver bullion, which by definition is any coin or bar that says exactly how much silver or gold is in it right on the asset itself, it can be reportable. So when you sell that, it generates a 1099. Bo could tell you if he went in his neighborhood and wanted to sell some of the bars that he has, and he probably knows someone where he probably could bypass the reporting, but most people, you go in there.
I would never do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you have to provide a thumbprint. You have to show your ID. They're going to make a photocopy, and they might tell you that they're not going to report it, but they have to, because when you're doing $500 million worth of business in a year, and you file your tax returns, you want to be prepared. They have to have an anti-money laundering and a know your client policy in place, and you have to say where every dollar goes. But there are some silver and gold that are not reportable, and anything that used to be a coin that circulated in United States or even abroad, that is a non-reportable asset.
And that's what this is.
Exactly. exactly.
I can also add this, like Pastor Dave is saying, and Andrew, you know, that the coins, they're constitutional money, basically. Okay, so which is very cool because it's not only silver, but it has the stamp of the Treasury. Okay, not the Federal Reserve, it's got the stamp of the Treasury on it, which is kind of cool because it's always in the United States, will always, or if you're in Canada, you know, you buy the Canadian Eagle, as an example, because it's got the, it's not the Canadian Maple Leaf, sorry, because it's got the stamp of the country. So whatever country you're in, it's very cool to have some of that money from the Treasury because it's always must be accepted as payment of that country. So it's really cool to have some monies like that, but you know, some coins like that have that stamp of the Treasury, that of the country you live in. And then secondly, you know, like at bars and everything are good. And this is honestly my opinion, what's going to go down, because when Babylon falls, you know, we know the story of Daniel, the Daniel 2 prophecy, Daniel 2 verse 34, because every part of the Daniel prophecy has been fulfilled so far. 2,500 years been fulfilled. Okay, all that's missing is Daniel 2 verse 34. And if you understand the prophecy, it's the binding of the feet of clay and iron. Okay, so iron is how they bound Israel on what Pharaoh did. You know, they put them in chains. And that's the same thing. And the clay are, what did God make man from? Clay. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the binding of clay and iron is no different. You know, that's what they're trying to do in Babylon. But what does it say? You can't bind clay and iron. And then it says that a stone carved out by no human hand comes in and destroys and just takes down the Babylonian statue of that's been standing for 2,500 years, and then that kingdom will stand forever. So we're about to see the fall of this Babylonian statue, and it's going to be historic. And so don't be surprised. And mark my words, I'm telling you, this is how it's going to play out. In the near term, maybe like this year, starting next year, whatever it is, people will be buying land, as an example, with bricks of silver. Mm-hmm. It's going to be so in demand. People are so going to want it. They will accept your silver as payment, and you'll buy the property for that. The only, you know, and then it'll be somehow they're going to be recording these things. The deeds will be recorded in silver. So it's going to be interesting. But I'm just telling you, when Babylon falls, everything they have in place, like even the recording, all these things are going to change on how it works out. But it's always great to have some constitutional silver of the country you live in. If it's the United States, you definitely want to have some Eagles or some of those 90 percentages, because it's such an important place to be positioned financially.
Absolutely. People really should reach out sooner than later. About 3-4 months ago, there were major shortages of silver. We were delayed like 3-4 weeks on almost everything. The Silver Eagle had a premium, I believe, of about $15 an ounce over the price of silver, when silver was only like $20 an ounce at the time. So it would cost you like $35 to buy 1 ounce of silver. And right now, the gold and silver that's available is actually quite plentiful. So with what we see is coming here very soon, it would be very, very, very wise to make your moves now, just in these first few months of the year. And you can do it without paying a big premium. How do I know you guys are real? Well, Pastor Dave has purchased gold and silver himself through us. And so many people of the HisGlory family have done it. And even Bo has done as well. So you guys can actually bypass any problems that do exist out there with many of these other gold companies. There was someone last year that called me, and I actually handled the transaction. It was like $50,000, and we agreed to a $50,000 deal. And then a couple of days later, they messaged me and said, you know, I've decided to go a different route. I'm getting gold from another company. And I said, great, I'm glad that you're getting gold. It doesn't have to be from us. But he recently came back and said, hey, I never received the gold that I bought from this other company, and I really wish that I'd gone with you. And your daughter, his daughter, is a client of ours as well. And I hate to see that stuff happen, but it's very important that you deal with people that you know are good. And we're vouched for by some pretty good people through Pastor Dave and Bo Polny and General Flynn, who was national security advisor.
He has his own coin now, right? Is that officially out? It's out, right?
Officially out. I don't have one right in front of me, but we've got them. People are putting them in their IRAs. We've already sold like 120,000 of them in the first 30 days. And we're working on a very special gold coin here coming out soon as well.
Yeah, we're excited about that. The Lion of the Tribe of Judah. Just to piggyback on what Andrew said, that period, what was it, about a month ago where it was hard to get silver, or 2 months ago? Because I purchased right in that same time, and it probably took 3 or 4 weeks for me to get my silver, which normally it takes 3-4 days a week. But I didn't worry. I knew it was coming, and sure enough, I got it.
Yep, and we'll get to that again. I mean, I always hate it when it gets to that point, but everything is a cycle, and when we start to see the spike continue that we're seeing right now with gold and with silver as well, there is going to be a shortage. And here's what happens every year, and pretty sure that Bo can confirm this. So the U.S. Mint each year will make a production of who knows how many silver eagles. Like the silver eagles are the gauge for all silver in probably the whole world. So when the U.S. Mint sells out of the 2023 production that they've already minted, then that's when the premiums of everything else are going to go up, because then people they can't get the silver eagles directly from the mint. Then they're going to want the Canadian maple leaf. Then they're going to want all of these like the Perth Mint coins, and then they're going to go to the 90% silver, the peace dollars like Pastor Dave holds in his hand all the time, and the premiums are just going to skyrocket. And I would expect that we'll probably get some notice that the mint has sold out, I'm going to say by the end of the month. And that coincides with the timeline that Bo's given us for the last week of January. So when that happens, then the wait times are going to come again, where it takes 2-3 weeks to receive your silver.
Yeah, and again, in closing, they can do their 401k IRA as well.
Yeah. Yes, and the fees are minimal, and people should reach out. Go out to our website, bh-pm.com, and fill out the online form on the first page there. Put as much information as you can. But if you haven't done so already, at least reach out to us and have a conversation with myself or one of our reps about how to roll over your IRA or 401k into one that holds physical gold and silver. So this isn't paper gold and silver. This is real gold and silver that that if you wanted at any time, you could have it delivered to you directly. It would be a distribution, and you would have to pay tax if that happened. But it is there. The point is, you're actually owning physical gold and silver that's held at a third-party location that is in your retirement account.
Yep. But
I want to finish on this. I just want to show one last screen here.
Okay.
This is why it's so important. This is what happened to Saddam when he tried to sell oil for euros. This is what happened to Gaddafi when he tried to sell oil for the gold dinar. So my point is, you're not allowed to sell oil for anything but the U.S. dollar, okay? You've got Putin here selling oil for rubles, okay, which is an act of war. I'm telling you, we've got the BRICS nations right now, and one of the BRICS, the R is Russia for the BRICS, okay? So they're going to come together. They're going to attack the U.S. dollar, okay? We saw what happened to Saddam. We saw what happened to Gaddafi. This is going to go down. They're selling oil for the ruble, with rubles and soon enough other things, gold. The point is, they are not going to let the U.S. dollar go down, okay? If the U.S. dollar goes down, it's game over. So this is going to be a fight like you've never seen before. Do not be surprised if we hear the word nuclear war, okay? I'm telling you, this is a 2,500 year prophecy. They're not going to go down without the biggest fight you've ever seen. Yep. But when you read Matthew 24, it's very clear. Be not deceived. The end is not yet. Period. So no matter what they say, all evil's got is the word fear. So fear not, God's got this. We're about to see the greatest financial event in human history. The third seal of Revelation manifests right in front of us. The wealth of the sinner, these trillionaires, the wealth of the sinner is coming to the bride. God bless everybody.
Amen. And I tell you again, the reason why that wealth is being transferred back to the bride and God and his people is what we're doing all around the country and soon the world is tent revivals. It's going to be the greatest revival in the history of the world. That's what God is doing it for.
Bingo. The greatest revival in the human world we are about to witness. We're about to embark on an incredible season of just blessings, and that's not only financial, but it's spiritual. The Holy Spirit, 30, 60, 100-fold multiplication of the Holy Spirit like we've never seen before. The greatest revival in human history is about to manifest.
Amen. All right, Bo and Andrew, thank you for coming on. It's going to be an exciting year. It's going to be exposure, judgment, but also it's going to be a lit of revival like we haven't seen before. It's the greatest time in the history of the world to be alive. We get to be a part of it.
For sure.
God bless you both. We'll see you. Are you both in Nashville, right?
Yes.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
We'll see you in Nashville. We'll see you
in
soon.
Nashville.
All right. That wraps up our Take 5 today, gold and silver with Andrew and Bo. I was just looking at the charts as we're going in, and gold was at 1875 and silver was at 2350. So I don't check them every day, but you can see those patterns. You can see it starting to bust up, and I know based on what I was told over the weekend, they're holding it back, and there's only a certain amount that they're going to be a hold back before boom, it busts out. And again, the worst case scenario is you have leverage, and if you buy silver and gold, a piece of silver like this that's not trackable, it's not like buying a gift certificate from Walmart that you have to go to Walmart to redeem it. It's you can do it anywhere, any place. This is currency. God bless you, and go in his shalom.